Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our special webinar with Languages Canada today. My name is Ilyas and I'm the Pathway Program Manager here at SSLC, Sprott Language College. And I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Today, we have Diego joining us, representing Languages Canada. He's located in Montreal. Hi, Diego. Welcome to our webinar.
Hi, Ilyas. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How are you doing?
I'm good. As you can see on the back here, there's a lot of sunlight in Montreal. It's a fairly beautiful day in the 18 degrees, but we're looking at some warmer days coming ahead of us. So summer is beautiful here in Quebec.
Great.
I don't know how's the weather in Vancouver though.
It's beautiful here in BC as well. We've had some heat waves in the past week. It was really hot, but right now it's around 25, 26 degrees. So it's beautiful here in Vancouver as usual.
Nice. It's good for people to see that Canada is not all about snow, right? We also have very warm summer. So whether they want to enjoy summer or winter in Canada, international students will have both, right?
Exactly. Depending on which season you come, we have 4 seasons here in Canada, wherever you go in Canada. So you'll get to experience summer, fall, winter, and spring. So it's a great country, great destination for our prospective students to come and study here in Canada and improve their English.
Definitely, couldn't agree more.
All right. So today we're going to talk about Languages Canada and what Languages Canada is, how Languages Canada helps students, us schools, and education agents and associations all around the world. So we're going to talk about some of your activities. So we're going to talk about some stats. I'll be asking you a few questions. How COVID-19 affected the education sector here in Canada, but also all around the world, and how we responded to this here in Canada. And if we have any questions from the audience, this will be an interactive webinar. So I encourage everyone to ask their questions. You can just simply ask your questions on the chat button, or there's an Ask a Question tab here on Crowdcast. You can also, this is also live. We are also live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on our website. So if you are watching us from those platforms, you can also ask your questions, and my friend Jem will be able to copy and paste those questions here so I can ask them to Diego. Okay, so why don't we get to know Diego first? Who is Diego, and Diego, what do you do at Languages Canada?
Sure, yeah, so my name is Diego Sanchez, and I'm the manager for international marketing here at Languages Canada.
Mm-hmm.
As we said, I live in Montreal in the province of Quebec,
Mm-hmm.
and I was also an international student in Canada a few times. I am actually originally from Brazil, and I took French classes here in Canada many years ago, and I was also an international student. I did my master's here at the University of Montreal, and I've been to 7 out of the 10 provinces in Canada. I've been to Vancouver, beautiful Vancouver, where you are, Victoria as well, and Toronto, where SSLC has locations.
Mm-hmm.
And I work for Languages Canada, helping to obviously attract international students here. And I'll be presenting very briefly as well a little bit of the quality assurance aspects that the association has, which is also very important.
Great. And you've been to our campuses before. I think that was maybe a few years ago when we had ICEF Vancouver here, and I actually first met you in one of Languages Canada's trade missions in Russia and Ukraine. So yeah, you also organized, you used to organize those trade missions, but hopefully going forward, we'll have those recruitment activities and attending fairs and everything quite soon.
Yeah, for sure. We're ready to be on the road again.
All right. Okay, so what is Languages Canada, and what does it do?
Sure. So Languages Canada is a non-for-profit organization, and not many people know this, but in Canada, we don't have a federal Ministry of Education. That doesn't exist. In Canada, education is the responsibility of the provinces. So we never had a way to assess the quality and the standards of English and French being taught as a second language. That didn't exist from the government perspective. So Languages Canada was actually created as a suggestion by the Canadian government to make sure that we can know that the schools that are offering English or French as a second language here are providing those services with enough quality so that the students that come here will have very good language courses. That's very important. Obviously, students pay for their courses. It's a service, but it's not only a service. We also have to make sure that there is quality to it. And Canada is known as a destination of quality language programs, and we play a big part in that. So that's why Languages Canada was created, but obviously we have a lot of other activities on a daily basis. It's not only about quality, but that's very important too.
Great. So you represent language schools or language programs and French programs at large here in Canada. How many members do you have currently?
So we have more than 200 members, 204, 205. We just recently had 2 new members. And we have members all across the country. And as you mentioned, we have institutions that are private schools, but we also have public institutions that are members of Languages Canada. So their English or French courses, their Department of Language is a member of Languages Canada. We're in big cities as Toronto, we're in small cities as Victoria, for instance, and other cities. So we're a little bit everywhere and very well dispersed in the country. So there's a great offer for pretty much any taste. If you want to have a big city experience, you can. If you want to go to smaller cities outside of the big centers, there are options. And as you know, both English and French. So Languages Canada is very diverse, and that's the richness of the association as well.
Great. And I guess we partially answered my next question, but not thinking of COVID for the moment. We get this question a lot, and I'm sure our partners, educational agencies, and maybe school counselors and everybody gets these questions a lot from students and especially their parents. Why should students choose Canada to study English in the first place?
The question should be, why not choose Canada, right? So we've been very successful this past few years. I have to say that Canada is doing an amazing job. Canada is very welcoming, right? So Canadians usually are super nice. Even if you go to Toronto, which is a huge, chaotic city, I have to say, but chaotic in a good way. People are still nice. If you're walking around downtown in Toronto, people will be super nice to you. They'll help you if you ask for a question or something. And then when you're in Canada as well, people are so diverse. They're from all over the world. Half of the population of Toronto or Vancouver, they were born outside of Toronto and they live in Toronto and they call Canada home. So an international student, when they're choosing a destination, they want to feel integrated. They feel like, okay, I belong here. I'm not an outsider. And pretty much anyone coming to Canada can feel this way because the country is so diverse. And we're also, obviously, we have amazing schools in other English-speaking countries and also in French-speaking countries. But I would say that we're very affordable. So in terms of obviously the investment that's going to be made, Canada is one of the best in that aspect without compromising quality. And we are also a country very welcome to immigrants. So students that want to come here and eventually immigrate through their studies, that is also possible. So be it for summer camps, short-term programs, ESL only, business, or preparation for university, we have everything to offer, and then students can choose from that. So I'd say Canada is a pretty obvious choice, but if you still have questions, let us know. We're happy to address and convince you to come here.
Great. And as you just said, Canada is open to international students. And in fact, Canada has been accepting up to 350,000 students annually, issuing study permits. And of course, it's not all language students. There's language in it, college studies, high school, university, postgrad, masters. So, and the trend has been just going up and up. And being able to, use their credentials here and then apply for an open work permit and then eventually immigrating to Canada, obviously, has made Canada, maybe I can say this, maybe the top destination in the world within the English-speaking countries. Okay, so since I talked about some numbers, maybe we can give some stats. I think you have some slides to share. Maybe we can get that ready. So obviously we've gone through, and we are still in a pandemic, and that is COVID-19. Last year, March 2020, when the pandemic started, all schools, including our schools, SSLC, VIC, Sprott College, and all the other schools, including public institutions, they all had to close their campuses, and we quickly switched online. And there was some time when we were able to get new students, and that was October 2020. So how did COVID-19 affect the language sector specifically here in Canada? I believe you have some stats from last year, and how we are doing right now. Is it picking up? And when do we expect to go back to normal, our good old days?
Good. So yes, indeed, we had a huge impact. I have to agree with you, especially the language schools. But at the same time, we have worked relentlessly with the Canadian government, both provincial governments and the federal one, to reopen the borders to international students. So as a matter of fact, as you said, on October 20th of last year, the government changed regulation, and then we were able to welcome even more international students. We still welcomed some, as you know, between March and October last year, but then we started to get even more. So we worked a lot to make sure that we were able to bring in those students. And we've been seeing the official statistics show that we have actually welcomed a lot of students this year. So only in the first 4 months of 2021, 100,000 students came to Canada. So only in 4 months, right? We still have 8 other months that are not accounted for here. So, but it is very likely that until the end of this year, we'll probably hit close to 300, maybe 350,000 students coming to Canada, which is not neglectable. But as you said, these are study permit holders. They can be coming here for a high school program. They can be coming here for a study permit, for an English or French language program, or a university or college, right? So my message has been from the beginning, and I've been telling this to every single agent and student: if you want to come and study in Canada, Canada is welcome for you. It's open for you. we're ready to take you in. Even if at some times we've had to close the schools, as you said, students were still having online courses. And if they were in Canada, they were still having the Canadian experience. So they were still, be it with the host family or student residents, going about their lives and practicing English here, right? Because they still had to go to the store, they were meeting with some friends. And an important part of English learning is to be able to use it. So obviously, it's amazing to have online courses, but if you're in Turkey or in Brazil and then you go out, you're not speaking English, right? So Canada is open to welcoming international students. If you want to come, and I'm talking to students directly or to agents, tell your students to apply for a study permit. You talk with the Ilyas or the team, they'll get you a letter of acceptance. You need that letter of acceptance to apply for a study permit, and voila, you get a response in a few months, and then you can travel. So Canada has been open, and those that were brave enough, they came. And Canada is not open for tourists. We have not had tourists here in a long time, but international students were always welcome, and they have come. So they really want to get educated. They want their education, and they've been coming. Again, it is a little bit more complicated, but it's perfectly possible. So we're ready to get them here, and we know we'll expect more students coming, especially now that there's some more flexibility on the entry and quarantine that we'll be talking about in a little while.
Sure. And as you just said, Diego, in fact, we've been open since last year, July 2020. We actually reopened our campuses here in BC, in Vancouver and Victoria, July 6, 2020, last year. And it's actually, it's been exactly a year, and we've never closed our campuses since then. Of course, we had the second wave and the third wave and so on, but we had everything in place for the safety, for the health and safety of our students. And as you said, starting from October 2020, students were able to enter Canada with a study permit. So Canada reopened its doors to students last year. And when you look at other countries, other English-speaking countries, this wasn't the case. And I've been hearing, Australia is closed and Ireland is closing, and God knows what's going on in the UK. But I think Canada has been consistent, although some schools, we had to reopen. We reopened in Toronto, and then we had to close again because of provincial guidelines, etc. But here in BC, we were more consistent, and we never actually closed our campuses and our students. And they were lucky, as you said, the brave ones. They came here. They were able to study. We arranged their accommodations, their self-isolation, and we still continue to support our student. And also, Languages Canada has done a lot of lobbying on behalf of all the language schools here. And we know how hard you all worked to push the Canadian government to open the borders for students. And you came up with a plan, study safe corridor, right? You helped other schools who didn't have all the services that provide, because we have campuses in Toronto, Vancouver, and Victoria. And before even the borders reopened in October, we were able to get students whose study permits were approved before March 18th. So in the summer, actually, when we reopened, we started getting students actually. So, and we had everything in place. So yeah, as you just said, the brave ones came here and started their studies, and they're actually about to complete. And since day one, just like other schools, we switched online for the first couple of months, obviously. But nothing has changed for them, for our students. Obviously, students who were here they were our priority. So they continued their education, and we've actually, we started promoting. We switched everything online, obviously, and we started promoting from day one our programs, and we organized these webinars with our pathway partners. And we said we are all in this together, and it wasn't just for our schools, but we were promoting education in Canada, college, university education in Canada. So we hosted our pathway partners, and we tried to inform our students and agents all around the world on a weekly basis. If you look at it from that perspective, actually, in some programs like our pathway programs, we've seen an increase during COVID time. So there were some benefits to students. They got to stay home and join classes online, and Canadian government accepted that. They extended the rules around it. They put some flexible rules for PGWP, for example. So I think we've done well in terms of managing this crisis here in Canada.
I couldn't agree more with you, Ilyas.
Okay. So do you have your slides?
Sure.
We can. Let's go through some numbers. I'm actually, I haven't seen the numbers, so maybe you have the most up-to-date numbers for us, and then maybe we can talk about the recent changes in travel restrictions.
Yes, let's do that. So I'll share some different information here, okay, as we discuss, and I want to really share some very practical information. And this is, by the way, anyone who can, who's interested can check out our website afterwards. So here, really, I just wanted to show a few numbers that demonstrate what's actually going on. So we have learned from the Canadian government that 128,000 study permits have been already processed between January and June, so of this year, 2021. So processed, it means that someone applied for a study permit at their home country, and then they got a response. We actually have already welcomed 100,000 international students who actually landed. They traveled to Canada. That's a figure I shared a little earlier. And we know there is about 140,000 study permit applications being processed right now as we speak. And you may remember that IRCC, Immigration Canada, had promised to give a response to all study permit applications that were submitted before May 15. So that it's actually on their website here. They said if you have submitted an application, you will get a decision. So why I wanted to show these numbers is just because it shows how many study permits are actually being processed. The Canadian government is really committed to welcoming students, right? They have allocated extra staff. They have hired more people just to look at study permit applications. So this cannot go unnoticed. If we read into what the Canadian government is telling us here, is that they want international students. So this is also a quote I wanted to share, and this is from the Minister of Immigration in Canada, Marco Mendicino. So he said back in March that these are his words. He said Canada's message to international students is clear, simple. We don't just want you to study here, we want you to stay here. So he's actually saying, come study here and then immigrate here if you want, through the several different immigration process that are out there. A few other statistics that are interesting and I wanted to share. I know there's some issues. There have been some issues with the visa application centers, right? Because Students have to give their biometrics, and they have been opening and closing, opening and closing. But today I checked the website again. There are only 11 visa application centers that are closed currently, and there are 162 in total. So almost 150 visa application centers are currently open. So students can do their biometrics, and more are opening every day. And the average response for the study permit application is 55 days right now. That's very fast. We actually had some trouble last year, but IRCC, as I mentioned, they have adapted, and now they're processing permits very, very fast. So even if you have you're a student or you're an agency, you don't, if a student still wants to come, might as well just apply now for a study permit. You get a response in about 2 months if everything is okay, and then you can probably be traveling to Canada before the end of the year. So Canada is open. And another thing, Ilyas, that we've been seeing, and well, we saw in the beginning, but we have educated people, even if you're coming for short-term program, less than 6 months, students can still come, okay? But they cannot come with a tourist visa. They have to apply for study permit. So it's important. Canada will process a study permit for a program of less than 6 months, and they can come here. So now a few numbers in terms of...
Diego, can I interrupt for 1 sec?
Yeah, sure.
For that study permit portion. In fact, IRCC has made an option. You know, you when you apply for a visa, you choose less than 6 months, but at the end, it'll give you an option if you want to apply for a study permit. So you choose that, and you're just able to apply for study permits. It's very easy. You don't even have to write an explanation letter.
You see, that's amazing, because it shows that the government really wants to facilitate that for students. So the message is very clear.
And we've had students who applied for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, even 8 weeks, whose visas were approved, study permits were approved, and they're already here in Canada.
And if they like, the beauty of it is that if they like, and maybe they want to extend, they can extend it from Canada. Exactly. That was not possible before if they came on a tourist visa, right? So yeah, as we said, if students really want to come, the way is there. All they have to do is follow the rules. They'll be able to come. Now, just to show a few numbers, in a normal year, so in 2019, Languages Canada members as a whole welcomed 150,000 students. The average stays 3 months, so 10 weeks approximately. This really depends on the nationality, right? But in 2020, we have some preliminary data. We went from 150,000 students to about 65,000 students. So a huge reduction, obviously. And here we show the countries that have sent us students. So even if, I mean, it was difficult to travel, but as we say, we still welcomed a lot of students, right? It's not like we went to zero. So we still had close to 9,000 Chinese, over 7,000 Brazilians, Japanese, Koreans, Mexicans, Russian students, Turkish students. So students were still coming here. I think this goes to show that, again, what we're talking about, if they want, they can come. Now, I wanted to also talk about very briefly the immigration path we were discussing because there are a lot of programs for international students to immigrate to Canada, but it's important that they know everything starts with language education, right? If someone wants to immigrate to Canada, if they don't speak English and or French, then it's very hard to integrate into the market. It's hard to go to a college, university, or get a job or an internship, right? So it all starts with language. Students should really invest in learning proper English so they'll succeed in the labor market. I often give presentations showing how many job openings we have in Canada, and it's crazy. We have so many jobs available in this country, and it's very hard for employers to find qualified people. And one of the main difficulties is sometimes people don't speak good enough English or French to be hired. So make sure that you're telling your students to follow good quality English courses before they immigrate to Canada, or obviously before they start a post-secondary program. There is actually the government of Canada has information on their website. This is just one of them, telling students everything they can do in order to immigrate. And they're specifically saying study, work, and stay. Obviously, you need to know how to navigate this. I know Ilyas is a certified immigration consultant. So if you as an agent or a student, you don't know the details, obviously, talk to an expert like Ilyas. If you don't know how to navigate, there are a lot of programs, but the message I wanted to convey is really that it is possible. The path is there. Now it's a choice of wanting to take that path or not.
Exactly, Diego, and it is in fact possible, and we are as SSLC and VICCCC here. We have that path. We offer that path to our students, and students, as you said, they can come here. We can train them. They improve their English first with us, and then they can either go to our pathway program, or they can enroll in our career college. They can study and work in Canada. We have that option too. Not in our language school, unfortunately, but they can transition into our career college, VIC here in Vancouver. They can do one of our co-op programs, and they get to study and work and do their co-ops, paid internships, and then from there on, we still have many pathway partners here in Canada where they can further educate themselves and obtain a post-graduation work permit here in Canada up to 3 years. And from there on, once they start working, they can go into express entry, Canadian experience class, provincial nominee programs. Even during their co-op programs, some of them have been getting LMIAs and obtaining closed work permits. So it is possible, and especially after COVID, students from from all around the world, they want to come to Canada, and their ultimate goal is to immigrate to Canada. And as you just said, Canada wants this, and Canada has proved that not just by opening the borders, but also during this time, Canada has implemented this PGWP extensions. You can study home and you can still apply for PGWP. It's all good. And they had TR to PR pathway. There was a huge demand. In one day, 40,000 people applied. So if you were a recent graduate here in Canada and just working anywhere, even part-time, you were eligible basically to apply to that program. And there are some temporary public policies where you can apply for an immigration. So express entry or PMP is not your only option, but Canada introduces new programs all the time. So this basically tells us that Canada wants immigrants, but Canada also wants students, and Canada wants students to immigrate later on.
That's so true. And actually, it's funny because the minister, again, Minister Mendocino, he said that the plan for Canada is to welcome 1.2 million new permanent residents, new immigrants in the next 3 years. So about 400,000 immigrants this year, next year, and 2023. And they're really committed to that target. We can see, as you say, there are a lot of flexibility with the programs. And it's important that people realize Canada has a population of about 37, 38 million people. So they want to welcome 1.2 more new people into the country, right? So it's a lot, and it's only because the country has what it needs to offer those people coming here the possibility of working, right? Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah. And obviously, Canada needs immigration. And Minister Medicino repeatedly said this. Canada needs it. We need it for future growth, especially after COVID-19 to recover. So immigration is an important part of the Canadian society. Okay, so we can maybe now talk about the recent changes. I think that's very important for our students. New rules came in effect July 5th. So why don't we go over those, and then we can slowly maybe wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely. So as of yesterday, midnight, international travelers arriving in Canada may be exempt from quarantine and having to stay at a government approved hotel. So let's maybe separate things.
Sure.
The eligibility of someone traveling to Canada has not changed. Only Canadians, permanent residents, study permit holders, and some essential workers. In short, these are the people who can come here right now. If you are coming to Canada as a tourist, no, you cannot come. That has not changed. So international students have been allowed to come to Canada, and they still are. Now, that's something. Now we have another aspect, which is quarantine or no quarantine. As of yesterday, if an international student has been fully vaccinated, they may be exempt from this quarantine. What does Canada understand by fully vaccinated? That student must have gotten 2 doses of Pfizer vaccine or AstraZeneca vaccine or Moderna vaccine, or a combination of those. Canada allows them to be mixed, or 1 dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Those 4 vaccines are approved by Health Canada. So a student fully vaccinated needs either 2 doses of those 3 vaccines or 1 from Johnson & Johnson. And the last shot must have taken place 14 days before arriving in Canada. So that's very important as well. And the proof of vaccination has to be in English or in French, and or certified on a certified translation into English or French. And everyone coming to Canada needs to download the ArriveCan app and input all of that information onto the app. Take a picture of the proof of vaccination. All of that has to be on the ArriveCan app. So we welcome, this is very good news, because we know that now fully vaccinated students will be able to skip quarantine, which is amazing. And we know that the vaccination rate is going up very quickly all over the world. We saw today there are over 3.5 billion doses that have been administered in the whole world. And obviously, the production of vaccines and also access to vaccine is just going to be, more and more available to anyone who wants one. So we're very confident that students will be able to travel to Canada without having to quarantine, right? So we have a few questions that often come our way. And I see here we actually have a question on the vac. So in Brazil, the Coronavac, which is a Chinese vaccine, is being administered. That's also the case in a lot of countries in Southeast Asia. Right now, the Canadian government is not yet giving exempted quarantine to those travelers, but this vaccine has been approved by the World Health Organization. So it might be that Canada changes its rules pretty soon. We know that in Europe, a lot of countries are accepting all the vaccines approved by the World Health Organization, and we're pretty confident Canada will do the same, but it's not yet the case. So if the vaccination was with another vaccine, that person still needs to quarantine. But things are evolving fast, and this is only one sign. So soon we expect that more people will be exempt. And what we can tell students and agencies, if you're planning to come here, try to get access. If you can choose the vaccine, try to choose a vaccine that is accepted by Canada, right? In Brazil, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson, for instance, they are being administered in Brazil. In Turkey, for instance, we know Pfizer is being administered. So if that kind of vaccine is available in your country, try to go for that one, so you will skip quarantine coming here to Canada. I know it's not always possible, but that's my advice. I can also share that a lot of countries in Latin America, except for Brazil, a lot of nationals from Colombia, from Mexico, Peru, they can fly to the US because there's no travel ban right now. They can fly as a tourist to the US, get a vaccine for free. I know a lot of Mexicans are doing this. So they will have the certificate from the US and then they can come here. So that's also possible. Obviously, if you have the means, if you have the visa to go to the US, I know it's not for everyone, but it is possible. So in the US, as you know, there's plenty of vaccines. They give vaccines to anyone. You can be a tourist, it doesn't matter, and there's plenty. So it's all a matter of strategy, right? It was what we were just discussing, Ilyas. If people want to come here, it's possible. If they want to skip quarantine, the rules are clear. Follow the rules, and you'll be able to safely travel and enter Canada.
Exactly. And if you were not able to get the 2 doses yet, you can still come, but you'll just have to self-isolate for 3 nights at a government-approved hotel, and then remaining 11 days, you have to still self-isolate. And as SSLC and VICCC, we've been helping our students with their, self-isolation plans, and we are arranging their accommodations. So everything is still the same, except that if they are fully vaccinated and at least 14 days have passed from the second dose, they can come here and they will just skip the hotel and quarantine self-isolation part. Of course, it's up to the officer. But still, we will have a self-isolation plan in place for our students. So they'll book their accommodations for 2 weeks with us, just in case they test positive at the airport or they have to self-isolate. We'll have the backup plan for them.
That's important. Yeah, everyone, that's a very good point. I forgot to mention. Everyone needs a quarantine plan just in case.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to give that information on the ArriveCan app before traveling here. So even if fully vaccinated, even if complying with everything, a quarantine plan is needed. So it's important. And I invite anyone, you can download the ArriveCan app on your phone or just visit the website from the Public Health Agency of Canada. They have videos showing that. You can simulate the travel, and then you see the kinds of questions and documents, everything they need. Obviously, don't submit because that would be false information, but you can simulate the ArriveCan app, and that should be helpful to understand exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly.
It's important to remember also, students who come here and are not vaccinated, they can get a vaccine in Canada for free, even if they're a student. So, and there's, again, plenty of vaccines available in Canada, so that's also an option. And students who are 17 and younger don't need to stay at a government hotel. They still need to quarantine for 14 days, but they don't need to stay at a government hotel for those 3 nights. So that's also important because minors are also coming here and they're welcome.
Yeah, in fact, we've had so many minor students entering Canada and studying at our campuses here in Vancouver and Victoria just recently. So yeah, they don't have to they don't have to go to a hotel since they are minors. Maybe Jim can show our website. We have COVID-19 plans, since day one, and our students can just follow those rules from there. We have all the information there, from ArriveCan to self-isolation declaration forms and everything, and we go through each rule and form one by one with our students, so they're all informed and they're ready to travel. And as we said, we help them in everything. We arrange there, as you can see here, student health and safety portal, back to school. We have it on our website, and we send them like a 20-page safety plans and health and safety plan and self-isolation guide, so they're all informed, and we have it in different languages as well. Okay, so in short, students are able to travel to Canada still, but this is good news if they have 2 doses of Pfizer, Moderna, or 2 other vaccines that you mentioned earlier. They're basically good to go. And I've actually seen yesterday, one of our agents sent me a vaccination ID for one of our future students. She's going to come here next month. Turkey has already issued vaccinations ID, and it's both in Turkish and English. So they had some questions about that. So it's a great step forward, I guess. And moving on, probably we'll start to get rid of all the restrictions slowly as we, vaccinate more and more people here in Canada and all around the world.
Definitely, yeah, it's very promising, and I tell everyone, don't wait. Just if you want to come, start planning, apply, get your vaccine, get ready, get well informed. See the website you guys have produced here. This is amazing, so detailed, and obviously agents and students can ask you questions. I strongly recommend always to talk with the school before coming. That's very, very important. So you'll be well prepared and we'll have a smooth entry. Students are welcome in Canada, but we want to make sure they come prepared so they won't have any hiccups or any issues when talking to the Canadian government officials, right?
Exactly. Okay. Thank you so much, Diego, for today. I'd like to wrap it up here. And I have actually a good news. we are reopening our Toronto campus this month, July 26th. So that's another exciting news for us and for our students. And as I said in the beginning, we are open here in Vancouver and Victoria and in our VICCC campuses. So students are welcome here. And as you said, apply as early as possible. All you have to do is just go onto our website. You can even chat with us in your own language. You know, we have a chat box on our website. You can send an email, apply online, let us know if you have any questions, and then we'll go through with our team of advisors and marketers. Will go through every question in detail, and we'd love to see you here in Canada. And it's never too late. You know, you can come here. You can apply as early as possible, especially with our language programs. We have a weekly intake, so there are no problems if your visa or study permit is not there on time. We can postpone your start date. That's not a problem. And most of you have your agencies as well, and they'll also help you in this process. But we are also here to help you as always. So try to apply as early as possible, and then you can come here, improve your English here with SSLC, Sprott Language College, which is a Languages Canada member, and then from there on, you know, we'll help you find success here in Canada. Diego, thank you so much for joining me today. It was so nice to see you again. And I hope to be able to see you and our colleagues in an in-person event soon.
Yeah, well, thank you, me too. Hoping to be together with more members pretty soon. And yeah, we're ready to welcome international students. Send them our way. Canada is open. We're welcoming students. And book the flights. Flights are going to be very full. I mean, if they want to come, start planning right now.
And by the way, yeah, maybe you saw in the beginning, we have an agreement with Air Canada. You know, our students can travel with discounted prices. We've also established a corporate agreement with Turkish Airlines as well. As you may know, they started their direct flights to Vancouver as well after Toronto and Montreal. So we have direct flights from Istanbul to Vancouver 3 times a week. So our students can also, and not just our students, but also our Pathway partners, we can extend this to our Pathway partners as well, and their students. So they'll be able to enjoy the discounted fares and other flexible rules.
That's right. Amazing.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.